Hey y'all, it's Morgan. Welcome to my happy place. So, if you watched my previous video, you know that I just had an arrival of some violets, and these were the violets I had received previously. I had repotted them out of their small pots into 4-inch pots, and this one is this is the one of the minis, and that little white pot back there is what it was in, which I'm now using to root a leaf, but it has now filled out nicely. Now I've had these 2, maybe 3 weeks, um, and in that time, the size of these, how much they've grown, has been pretty impressive, especially this nice Russian one. Those are leaves that I'm potting, or hope that it'll work, from my big original violet. I groomed it quite heavily and took off a lot of the leaves that were drooping, and it was just getting very, very large, and I decided to go ahead and take those off. They may or may not make plantlets. They were older leaves, so I don't know if it'll work. I know that they're rooted. I just don't know if they'll make me some baby plants, so we'll see. Anyway, this one, I'm so thrilled with this plant, its growth habit and its flowering, that I really am hopeful that some of those will work, and I have a couple of friends who will benefit from some of that. And I may very well take Rick L's lead and take the plants, if any occur, to some places where maybe it would brighten someone's day. Probably I would take it to the hospital on the oncology ward where I used to work, for any patients who might need some brightening up. So anyway, this is just an update on how the first violets that I got are doing. Um, they're really growing nicely. I'm starting to see a couple that are trying to bud again, and the larger ones that I'm seeing some buds, I may let bloom. Let me see. Right in there, I believe we have some. But I'm kind of undecided, and I need to decide quickly because if I'm going to disbud them, I need to go ahead and do it now. So I don't know, I'll make up my mind a little bit later today. All right, just a second, and I'm going to try to place the new violets in here somewhere. This is just a really good light for it, as you can see, because this is a southern exposure, and I do have another table right over there that has like a little bonsai on it of my son's, but I may go ahead and try to pull it over under the window and put the other violets over there. So I don't know. Apparently I'm going to have to grow my growing space. I do have room in the sunroom on that table, but it gets very, very warm in there. That room is not as air conditioned as the rest of the house, though it does have it. But over by the window, even with the shade down, it hits 90 degrees during the day there easily. So I'm not sure that I want to use that space yet. I have an idea of something that I said I didn't want to do, but I may be able to. The shelf of that table underneath it is recessed, and I think I could put some lighting under there and move it away from that window. But I don't know if I want to do that yet. We'll see. I'll find other arrangements, I'm sure. Okay, I'll be back. Just to give y'all an idea of how much light this window gets, it is 4:25 in the afternoon, and we have overcast skies. Yet look how much light. Yeah. Okay. So this is all the babies in with the biggies. I have a couple of the ones that I'm going to try to propagate the leaves, but I'm probably going to put those over on that other window. So just the plants will be here. And this is kind of a hot mess because I did water everybody, and of course now I have water all over my table. So I've decided, I had purchased some of these little 4-inch pot plastic things that the others are in, and I'm just going to go ahead and start sticking these in as well. I mean, you know, I figure that looks better than my spotted up nasty table. So anyway, here's all the new guys, and I actually did have 2 other of the plants with broken leaves. that I did not tell y'all about. Um, they weren't horrible, but you know, still, it's two more broken leaves. So that was quite a lot, actually. Although that was kind of quite a lot of plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Did I really get 16 plants? I believe I did. Okay. Yeah. Don't tell my husband. This will be our little secret. You know, like he doesn't watch these or see any of this when he gets home from work. But anyway, yeah. So a little more fiddling with them, and then I think everybody's going to hang out in this window. Once I move those to 4-inch pots, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do because I suspect they won't fit. I am going to try to move them so that the darker leaved plants are more towards the front because they can tolerate a little bit higher light, and move my lighter leaved plants a little bit more to the back. I do think I'm going to leave the little ones, I'm going to separate them from the big ones though for now. And some of these plants I am going to remove the buds, some I am not. I think on at least one of the species plants, if not more of them. I'm just going to let them do their thing. I just want to see how they do with no interference. So, yeah, anyway, it's going to be painful because, you know, we live for the buds, right? And quite frankly, I'm probably going to have to let that one open up and then I'll snip it off. But this lower one here, I'll go ahead and take it off. Um, but that way, you know, they can grow a little faster. And in a week or so, depending on how they're doing, I may go ahead and pot those into 4-inch pots, um, you know, just to give them plenty of room because these have responded really, really well to going in the larger pots when they were not much bigger than these. And they're filling them out quite nicely. I think this is my slowest grower. Um, and I don't know. These haven't really grown a lot. They were just already big. Um, but that one seems to be has the smaller leaves and it's a little bit of a slower grower. But you know, we'll see. I'm gonna see what their personalities tell me. And this one is one of the species plants that I really think I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Um, these other two over here, I'm not sure about yet. I'm going to let them relax and just get a feel for them, and we'll go from there. All right, later, guys.